Welcome to Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and today I want to talk to you about something that's very important. It's about one of the reasons I believe that most people have a hard time walking away from the criminal lifestyle, and it's because of the social consequences of that individual act, right? Walking away. But before I get started on this episode, I want to thank everybody for the support out there. I appreciate everything that you're doing, subscribing to the show. Help me get those numbers up, y'all. You know what I mean? You can hit that listener support button and make a donation if you really like it, and I would appreciate that always, you know. And one more thing, my book, Becoming a Murderer, How PTSD Influenced My Decisions, is available on my son's website, jtb3.org. Check that out, man, and I appreciate your support. But let's jump right into the show. I want to talk about the social consequences of walking away from the criminal lifestyle. Most people don't even give that any consideration. What the person that has to walk away from that lifestyle is going to be going through mentally. The physical walking away is really, to me, the easy part. I know when I walked away from gang life it was, but it was the mental things that I had to adjust to get used to, right? I had to give up people that I had called my friends, people that I had called family members, people that I had saved their life, they had saved my life. You know, I had to walk away from them, and all those relationships that I had nurtured over many, many years. It didn't dawn on me until a few days afterwards what I was giving up, and I went through what you would call withdrawals. You know, I missed being around them, I missed the camaraderie. Now, don't get me twisted, right? I do believe that walking away from the criminal lifestyle is the right thing to do. Abandoning that lifestyle and that way of thinking is what's needed. But there are two parts to that. The physical aspect of it, walking away, disassociating yourself with it, and then the mental aspect, you know, changing the way you see the world, changing the way you think. All of that plays into, you know, the social consequences that an individual that walks away from their lifestyle has to deal with. And it's not easy, because nobody prepares you for that. Everybody says to you, walk away, leave that alone, stop doing that. It's wrong. And everything that they're saying is correct. But let me ask you a question. Let's say that you witness a crime, right? Of a mob boss or something like that, right? And you're the only witness. And the FBI bumps down on you and they say, look, we have to put you in protective custody until after this trial is over. And you say, well, how long is it going to be? It might last 3 years. So they say you got to walk away from your family, your wife, your kids, everybody that you know. Nobody can know where you're at. That disconnect is going to cause you to go through some kind of trauma. You know what I mean? And that's what happens to an individual that changes their whole lifestyle. You got to remember, some of us in the criminal lifestyle, we've been doing this for a long time. And when we don't have that adjustment period. You know, it's like you either halfway in or all the way out most of the time, right? So when you stop that, you get cut off from a lot of those people. I know for me, a lot of the people that I associated with, once I walked away, they didn't want to talk to me. And it was hard walking by people that I had called my friends and family, walking by them and they turned their heads and looked the other way. That was hard for me. So a lot of people don't want to go through that. I don't think they consciously think about, in the way that I'm describing it, social consequences, but they see how other people are treated when they change their lives, when they walk away. And that is something that's always on your mind. You know, you don't want to be the outcast. You don't want to be that person that nobody talks to. You know, when you're in prison or in jail and you decide that you want to change your life, a lot of the people that are not on that are in the jail or the prison, most of the time they don't want to associate with you. Now, when you're out of prison or jail, it's easier to do because you can move to a different location, start your life over, make new friends, make new memories. But you don't get to do that in prison. And it's hard when you're on the streets too, you know, because a lot of people don't have the means to move to another area, to start fresh, to start new. A lot of people don't have the drive and the determination to do that, or the discipline that it requires to be able to do that, because it's hard. You have to cut yourself off from a lot of people. in a lot of the relationships that you had. And most people find that difficult to do. And that, in my opinion, is one of the reasons I believe that people stay involved in the lifestyle. They want to be part of the group. They want that validation as being part of something. And when you say that I'm done with that lifestyle and you walk away from it, you have to deal with all that comes with that. And that's something that I really have never even thought about until a few days ago. I was watching this show and they were talking about it, another issue. They were talking about another issue, and it made me think about, how would I relate that term they were using, social consequences, to me walking away from the life. And once I started to look at it through that lens, I started to understand a little bit about that and what people go through when they change the way they think, when they change the way they live. You have to reorganize everything. You have to make new friends, create new memories, and so on and so forth, make new bonds with people. And that's hard to do in prison. That's hard to do in the criminal world in general. But that's what you have to go through. And I would like people to consider that when you're talking about, you just need to stop doing that. You need to just quit doing this and that. People want to quit, but it takes time. You got to be patient with them, because it's like coming down off of drugs. You have to give them time to readjust to making new memories, having new thoughts, and making new connections with people that mean them well. Because another aspect of that is they might not even realize that you mean them well. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, they've been operating in a world that has a totally different, I'm going to use this term lightly, a totally different moral compass, right? So the compass that you use in the criminal world is different than when you're dealing in a world where everybody treats each other fairly and so on and so forth. You see things differently. So when you cut that off, just because you stop doing something don't mean you stop thinking that way. You got to give people time to stop thinking that way. So when help comes to somebody that has walked away from that, they're reluctant to accept it. They're suspicious of it. They don't have that bond with you. They don't have that bond. That's why you hear a lot of people that come out of jail and prison saying, I don't know you, I don't trust you. You know what I'm saying? It's not that they don't want to. That process of building trust just hasn't taken place. And that's something that takes time. And I would ask all of you out there that have somebody in your family like that, when they say they want to walk away from something, give them time, give them space to do it. You know what I mean? Talk to them about how they feel, because they're going through some stuff, right? And be patient with them, because they're changing. And as they are changing, they need somebody that's there to validate them, to tell them that they're making the right decision and to stay the course. Because if they don't get that, then they're not going to feel comfortable. They're not going to feel comfortable at all. And that's what makes a lot of people go back. So just remember that. I just wanted to drop that on you a little bit, and see what your thoughts are about that. Let me know. Hit me up at doingtimewithjoet@gmail.com and share what you think about this episode, or leave a message on the podcast, or whatever the case may be. Look here, I appreciate y'all, and keep doing what you're doing out there if you're doing it positive. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace.